Yes, and it's crucifixion time. Welcome, where we continue on our Easter special, especially for everybody who wants to get crucified. We keep on going on the right angle cross of tension with the 4-6 profile. So hold on, here we go to the line of restructuring. The good sense to take advantage of restructuring on short term activity to assess the situation and restructure for long term goals. The awareness that depth is possible expression will face obviously and intrinsic are interesting. Anybody that has this particular course, that they're going to have their sun in the 48, they're going to have the exaltation and the detriment. It's going to be brought out because you have the earth in its polarity. The awareness that depth and the possible expression will face restrictions. Again, this is similar to the theme of the third line. You can see that the 3 to the 4 are telling you the same thing. What they're saying to you is yes, depth is here, but the 48 in its depth understands that on the other side is the 36, and that the 36 is going to open the door to experience. And without the opening of that door to experience, there's the way to being able to codify the depth. It was like me, a kid trying to write the story of the planet. The story was in me, but I didn't know how to codify it. I didn't know how to bring it out in perspective. So restructuring is very important. And when I look back at my life and I look back at my depth, the thing that it makes me interesting as a teacher is that there is a paranorma of information that's behind the description. If you're going to end up having to explain things, which is my karma, what I've noticed is that all the junk I thought I was collecting, that the junk actually has value. And I've learned to see that because I have a third line mind, I particularly relate to the 48-3 as a way of being able to express to the third line beings how important it is not to enter their resumes, not to see that those things that they went through that failed are not of value to them in their life. They're wrong, even if it was of self failure. At least you understand the not self consequences. But everything that went on in your life, all of that is necessary infrastructure for your depth. And it's only when you accept that all of that belongs to you, that all of that you provide with essential material, only when you're going to have a true synthesis which will project outwards for true intelligence. I love all the mistakes and problems and stuff and things I've done from the past as didn't and not self. I resented it. And now every chance I get to pull one of those little pieces of lifelong trivia out of the pot and use it as an illustration. And it's wonderful because it resonates as truth. And it's the collective. It's the collective. You take it all in. This is not a tribal well, it's an individual well. Now think about what the cross of tension is going here. We've been talking about this only in terms of duality. You have to see that in the context of duality, the 48 gate is putting the fear of inadequacy into everyone. Oh boy, can I make you feel inadequate? You know it is, in a moment, in a breath, and what I demand of you. And if you learn new skills, that's all. This is a classic 48-16 piece of business, if there ever was one. Again, you have to see that one of the things that I didn't do to my parents, I didn't know that. What do you think? There's so much divorce in my generation. We all have Neptune in the 48. We all made our parents feel inadequate, all of us. So you end up with a huge wave of divorce. And not only divorce, but an enormous rise in alcoholism, drug use, families breaking up because mom is a junkie, and on and on and on and on. All of that is Neptune in the 48 gate. My generation came into the world in 1948, and Neptune says, haha, and this is the cross of tension. I'm not just talking about any other placements like my clarion, so that I can dream it out and tell you, think what it is to like be on the cross of tension. You're 48-4, you got a partner, and you say, you're inadequate. You don't have the skills. You don't know how to live with me. You don't know how to deal with me. You don't understand me. You're the one that is inadequate. Well, what to do? Good luck with that. Then we go to the juxtaposition cross of depth. So this is all about going deep, depth. The 48 gate is the well, and it's full of wisdom. The 4-1, the turning wheel of juxtaposition. I love juxtaposition crosses. For me, they're transitions. They're wonderful. You watch them. That's what I love about the screensaver. You see this sudden noise, and then when it's going, whew, that's juxtaposition. It's incredible. It's the shifting underneath. It's always shifting underneath. It's very powerful. And all the crosses are shifting in the unconscious level. It's a very powerful thing, this shifting. So this is all about the crosses. We shift to the 53-54, and oh boy, do you get into this stuff. We moved away from the 38-39 provocation. When you meet the right angle cross of tension, 38 sun, you know it. They're right in your face. You feel inadequate. Then you meet a juxtaposition cross of depth. And all you want to do is learn how to be adequate. I'm ready to learn from you. I'm ready for you to point out my inadequacies and that I will become adequate. What do I have to do? You have to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this, and you go through this restructuring. We restructure you, but we're not going to restructure you the 38-39 way. You're not going to give you a purpose. You're not going to give you a spirit. We're going to give you to be ambitious. You can be transformed by entering into a new experience through the 53rd gate. Restraint is the very thing about this line. You're always dealing with restrictions. So when you're dealing with a 4-1, you're dealing with fixed fate. And in most cases, when you're dealing with is that you're dealing with somebody who always think that the only way to change their life is to study something new. These are very odd people. These are the ones that have to have a career. And then they come home and then they decide they're going to stop being a doctor. And then they're going to learn how to farm soya. That'll make a difference in their life. And that not so much that they actually do it, but it makes them feel good about thinking about it and finding out about it. So they can pretend that they're going to be transformed and that they're going to enter into something new, a new life. If you're looking for a theme of the midlife crisis, this is the juxtaposition cross of the midlife crisis. And I don't mean that in a sense that it absolutely has to be in a Uranian sense of midlife crisis. It's the kind of thing when you're processed your way through a career and you all of a sudden you want to change everything. You don't want to be in a suburb anymore. You don't want to be this or that. Whatever the case may be, there is this. There's something else to life. And then you start all these little things to try to get yourself to a point where you can be transformed and truly enter into a new experience. It's normally not very successful, other than the fact that it's a 4-1 configuration. So you have all this deep studying going on. Not a hell of a lot's going on. But these are people that could be instrumental in getting other people to do the same thing. They can be very influential in saying to somebody, why don't you just change your life? Why don't you just take a sabbatical? Why don't you take a year off? Go to Borneo, get bitten by things, rub yourself against trees, do something different, learn a few trades. All these people who take up a hobby, this is a great hobby line. It's a hobby harmony to trivia, so it's a great harmony. Why don't you just get into some trivia? That will help you. Okay, well, good luck with that. Maybe try to start a new hobby.